Well, the All Whites and the football Ferns will now be paid the same after a pay parity deal was announced this afternoon. While a big difference remains in the prize money offered at men's and women's FIFA tournaments, the new collective agreement means all elite New Zealand players will have pay parity. That includes the same percentage share of prize money, equal rights for image use, and for the first time the women's team will fly business class when representing New Zealand. Striker Sarah Gregorius came out of retirement last year. She's also on the board of the New Zealand Professional Footballers Association, and I asked her what she thinks about the news.
The news is amazing. I think it's such an awesome line that we've now drawn in the sand in terms of no matter who you are, what gender, when you pull on the New Zealand football shirt, you're entitled to the same treatment, that dignity and that respect no matter what. So it's wonderful. It's such an awesome feeling, and I'm so stoked that it got over the line.
Was it something that used to irk you a little bit when you did play for the football Ferns?
Oh, absolutely. I think in any sense there's a lot of female athletes and female players out there who have felt, the sting of unequal treatment at some point in their careers, and it's tough. It hurts, and I think particularly over time, that feeling can sort of accumulate and lead to some real genuine frustration. So I think this is a really positive step into making sure that none of that kind of exists going forward when players are assembling with the national team.
And part of the old way of doing things, the women's team had to fly economy while the men went business class. What was it like to sort of fly an economy and then have to step up to play a big game?
It is really difficult. It takes a toll physically, obviously. You're behind the eight ball a little bit when you land. You're not able to train properly with the team, so that precious time together training and preparing for the game is compromised. And then, if you're having to travel and only arrive in a couple of days before a big match, it can affect you in your performance in that game as well. So I think when the performance, for your country is compromised by something like that, it's almost not acceptable. And you want to be able to put your best foot forward no matter what and have the support around you to ensure that can happen. So this is a step towards that, so that when we are competing on the world stage, we don't have to, have the effects of the flight in our legs. We can go to battle and do well and do our country proud no matter what.
And practically speaking, what are the other differences that will be in place now for the women compared to the men players?
I think it's the most tangible benefit, I think, for the players will be around the travel. Obviously, we have parity in terms of remuneration as well, and the way that our intellectual property is now protected. We have equality in terms of the share of prize money that we take home from major events. So it's just a real kind of symbolic stand in that, no matter what, this is what you're entitled to. It's no different, male or female. So I think symbolically, that's really important, and knowing that we now stand alongside the male players rather than, sort of literally speaking back in economy while they're treated a bit differently. So I think in terms of what it means outside of the travel, the pay parity and the insurance around our intellectual property and prize money and things like that, those are the sorts of little things that, all add up to make a pretty big difference.
And what have the players, current and former, that you've talked to about this today been saying to you?
It's actually been really cool now that I'm back involved with the football Ferns. I was with the team in Spain. So it was really cool to be able to explain to them and educate the players on what this new agreement means to them and get that really early feedback and see, kind of the discussion now starting to take place and how energised they felt by, what a step forward it was. And when it first got discussed in the media towards the end of last year, how many players came out in support of it, not just football Ferns, but All Whites as well, and then players from other codes and football players around the world as well who are fighting their battles with their own organisations in their home countries. So just across the board, it's been nothing but positivity, nothing but wow, okay, this is cool, I'm behind it, let's do this, let's make a stand.
Of course, there's some, some disparity still in the prize money, because the prize money offered in some of the big men's tournaments isn't as much as the prize money offered in the women's tournaments. What would you like to see happen in that space?
Oh, I think that has to change, absolutely. it's not even to the point where it's, we're getting half the prize money at FIFA events. It is a minuscule amount in comparison with the men. So I think, those sorts of stakeholders who make those decisions need to kind of, I guess, move with the times now and start to look at the women's game equally, treat, those players in those tournaments the same. And I think it should be, and it needs to be the start of a conversation around prize money and what, because that again puts, it puts a bit of a spotlight on the value of, the female game for those organisations and how they view it and how they see it moving forward. So I think, and I'm hopeful that it's the start of, wider conversations within our own sport and within other sports to say, hang on, are we actually treating our players fairly? Is there equality? Is there equity? And what can we do about it if that's not the case?
And that's the all-white striker, Sarah Gregorius there.